From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
What's up, world? It's the one and only Pop DBICD PrimeTime Capper, and it is time for the premier sports betting show, the PrimeTime Angles Live. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling great. I hope everybody enjoyed their Thanksgiving yesterday and everything like that. It was a really, really good day for football, though. The Lions still winless, but they should have won yesterday. They had a great game, but Chicago wound up finishing that job off yesterday. But we might have saw the game of the year yesterday in Arlington with the Raiders and the Cowboys. Now, you know that this is a very popular, fan rivalry. You know what I mean? A lot of people have their hangups with the Raiders. A lot of people have their hangups with the Cowboys, blase, blase, blase. But they are two of the deepest fan bases in all of the NFL, if not the two deepest fan bases in the NFL. So when they get together for a game, it's usually a lot of laughs and giggles and everything like that between both sides. But when it comes down to the competition of the game, it's always a really, really good game. And what happened, the Raiders wound up winning the game yesterday, 36-33. Derek Carr had himself an excellent game yesterday. Great bounce back game for Derek Carr, who had been really going through it the last few weeks and everything like that. Wasn't playing really good football. That the Raiders have a lot of things going on. They lost their head coach. They lost their high-flying receiver, all that good stuff, all that stuff. And so pretty much, they won 2 in a row as soon as Bisaccia became the coach. But the moment that they lost Ruggs, they've lost 3 in a row. So, pretty much the Raiders went from 5-2 now to 5-5. They went from a 3-0 team to a 5-5 team. And pretty much everybody had the Raiders counted out yesterday. This was a must-win game for the Raiders as well, too. People have to understand the Cowboys are in good position right now. They're one of the top teams in the NFC. So if, they were to lose, it won't be that big of a deal. Even though you got the Eagles coming on, I don't think that they catch the Cowboys at all, to be honest with you, because the Cowboys still have 3 more divisional games to go this season. And I think they can win at least 2 out of 3 of them. You know what I mean? So pretty much I see Derek Carr, 373 yesterday, 24 for 39 with the touchdown. Josh Jacobs had 87 yards on the ground, scored a touchdown as well, too. And guess who led the Raiders in receiving yesterday? Deshaun Jackson had 102 yards on 3 receptions yesterday with the touchdown. So I think that he's starting to now get a little bit of some more looks week in and week out. I think that he gets a little bit more of the playbook, and I think that they have it schemed up to where they have plays for Deshaun exclusively. So it looked pretty good. The Raiders did well yesterday, 28 first downs to 23. They were 3-13 on third down, but the Cowboys were also 3-13 on third down, and that's something that is a big, big part of their success on a week-in, week-out basis is them staying on the field long. And as I can see, the Raiders actually had 9 more plays than the Cowboys, who only had 68. And this is a team that when they win football games, they do literally get almost over 100 plays. But when they don't win football games, they're under 100 plays. So the more you keep the Cowboys off the field and make their defense have to be make their defense be on the field, then you're going to be in good shape. And the Raiders total yards yesterday, 509. All in all, they had 509. They had 143 rushing yards to add to that as well, too. But they gave 437 yards on their side. But they didn't give up 100 yards yesterday on the ground. And I was surprised because Tony Pollard looked like he was on his way to having maybe a 100-yard game, and Zeke as well, too. But The Cowboys kind of went away from the run game. You can see that here with the 32 completions to 47 attempts from Dak. Dak had himself, but Dak did well yesterday too. 375, 2 touchdowns. Zeke Elliott 25 yards on 9 attempts. It seems like it's starting to get a little bit more less and less of Zeke every week. He got 9 attempts yesterday. Come on, man. This is a guy that led the league in rushing for his first few seasons in the league, and at minimum will get 15 carries at worst. This is a new day. And Gallup on the comeback had 5 receptions, no touchdowns, but 106 yards yesterday. But this was a great game. It came down to a final kick. And here goes something else. And I know I'm just bragging a little bit right now, but I feel so good about it today that, hey, I want to talk about it right now. Yesterday, for my exclusive clients, I went ahead and I got real bold. I put my kahunas on the table and said, you know what? The Cowboys have played so bad on Thanksgiving the last 5, 6, 7 years that I'm going to go ahead and take the other side, and I'm going to take the Raiders with the plus 285. So I was pretty bold there, and the Raiders came through for us yesterday, and I thank them very much for that. Hit a big dog before we get to the last month of the year, and pretty much got everybody feeling good, and I think that got everybody started off to the Black Friday pretty well as well too. So hey, thank you, and you guys know that we didn't win 4-0 the night before. On Wednesday, and then we also hit that 16-1 on Tuesday. So yeah, if you guys are shopping Black Friday because of those bets and everything, you're welcome. All right, so that was great. Raiders get a great win. That was a win that was much needed. Will they be better moving forward this season? We'll have to see. The Raiders are a very moody team. So with this win and the way that they did win, I would think that they'll be back next week ready to, bust somebody up. But here goes the fact that you guys need to kind of keep with the Raiders. Every time the Raiders have been, say, more than a 5.5 point dog or something of that nature, they've wound up winning the game. All right, so just keep that in your notes. That's all I can say. All right, so we have college football Friday night lights. Oh boy, we have a lot of games. We had 16 games going today. As you guys know, I dropped the college football bets list for you guys as well too. So you guys have that with you. But I do have 2 games here at the end of the night. One that starts at 4. Pacific, and then the other starts at 5 Pacific time. So I couldn't get into those other games because they started way too early. So up first we have North Carolina going against North Carolina State. This is a good old rivalry game between two teams that go way back. So pretty much you have a North Carolina team that was a top 10 team to start the season off, coming in now 6-5. They're plus 200 on the money line today. North Carolina State comes in here minus 250 and a 6.5 point favorite as well too. You have an over under of 62.5. When I look into my notes about this game today, this is what I see in my notes. You have a North Carolina team that's 4-7 against the spread. They've went over in 6 out of their 11 games this year. Now, this is something that has hindered them all season. This is why they're sitting in the position that they're sitting in now. This team is 0-4 against the spread and straight up on the road. Now, they split even when it comes to the over and under. And then when it comes to playing the ACC, they're 4-4 straight up in the conference. They're 3-5 against the spread. And then once again, they're split when it comes to the over and under. So they're 4-4 in that category, over and unders. North Carolina State comes in here very good against the spread, 7-4 on the season. They've went over in 6 out of their 11 games as well too. This is the stat that really this is the reason why they're 6.5 point favorite today. They're 6-0 straight up at home. They've covered 5 out of 6 games at home. And also, they've went over in 4 out of their 6 games at home as well, too. Now, in the ACC, they're 5-2 against the spread and straight up. And over under, they went over in 4 out of the 7 games that they've played in the conference this year. So, pretty much this is going to be a pretty big dog play for me today. I like Sam Howell here in the spot. I know that they haven't done well on the road, but if you're going to win a road game for the season, it might as well be against one of your arch rivals. So I like North Carolina tonight with the plus 200. I think that that's a good bet. When you have the better quarterback, it's always a very confident play for me. So that's what we're doing here. We got UNC with the plus 200 tonight. Hopefully they go ahead and get themselves a nice win so they can go ahead and secure a one of these minor bowl games. But they had big aspirations. They probably had the Orange Bowl on their mind at worst this year. But you know what? It didn't happen, and it is what it is at the end of the day. We move on to our next game, Pac-12, somewhat at night, but we have the Apple Cup between Wazoo and Washington. So you got the Cougars going against the Huskies today. And you have two teams here that are going in different directions. You have a Washington State team that's actually played very good football since the first month of the year. They were absolutely dreadful to start the season. After that, they were pretty good. And I say this because this team is 6-5. They started the season off, I think, 0-4 or 1-3 or something of that nature. But when I look at them against the spread, they started off the season 0-3 against the spread. But since then, they're 6-1, making their record 7-4 overall against the spread this season. And then they went under in 7 out of their 11 games this year as well, too. And then when you look at the road work, they're 2-2 straight up on the road. They've covered 3 out of 4 on the road as well too. And then when it comes to the Pac-12, they're 5-3 straight up in the conference, and they've won a lot of these games. They've won 4 in a row before they were upended by Oregon a few weeks back. And then they also have they also are 6-2 against the spread in the Pac-12, and they went under in 5 out of their 8 games. Now, Washington comes in here. They are 3-8 against the spread, atrocious. And then they're 9. They've went under 9 out of their 11 games this year. And then when it's against the spread and straight up at home, they're 2-4. And also when it comes to the over and under, they're 4-6. 4 out of 6 of their games at home have went under. Now, straight up in the Pac-12, they're 3-5 against the spread. They're 2-6. And when it comes to the over and under, they've went under in 6 out of their 8 games this year in the conference. So, Washington is coming in here really ready for the season to be over. I know that they probably have a good recruiting class coming in. Jimmy Lake in his first season as the head coach and everything like that. I know he's not on a hot seat or anything like that. They are building towards a better future. And pretty much he has a little bit of time to do that. But I think this year was a good way to kind of measure your team a little bit, and you see that you got some good defensive players here. What you got to do is you have to correct what's going on the offensive end. But I think today, with this being the Apple Cup, this being such a great game, it's going to be a sellout crowd at Washington simply because, this is a rivalry game. It winds up being a game that goes over the 44.5, in my opinion. That's what I'm seeing checking up with this game right here. So let's see how it goes. Let's see how it shakes out, and we roll from there. All right, so with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick commercial break. And when we get back, we're going to get into the Lakers. We're going to get into the NBA Friday night, and then we're going to be talking some tickets as well, too. So you guys stay tuned. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper.
Good News Only Racing Club, led by the legendary Doug O'Neill, the trainer of 2 Kentucky Derby winners, and I'll have another in Nyquist. Also trained 2-time Breeders' Cup champ Golden Sense, who are just a part of a long list of thoroughbred champions trained by Doug O'Neill. The Good News Only Racing Club has a young core of horses to look out for in Dennis's Celery, Irish Heatwave, and Notre Dame, just to name a few. Win the day every day with the Good News Only Racing Club, a proud sponsor of the NFL Bet Exchange.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best. This is a Prime Wave Media production.
Tune into Big Wave Boxing every week with a brand new guest with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. getting the best boxing stories, best boxing angles, and the truth when it all comes down to the sweet science. Tune in to Big Wave Boxing on the Prime Wave Media channel on YouTube.
All right, we are back with the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live. All right, so the Lakers tonight are back at home after a five-game streak, five-game road trip, and pretty much the Lakers really grew up as a team. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear me on that because they want to keep pointing out all the negatives all the time. But this Laker team lost 3 in a row to pretty much get themselves back in order. Okay. The Lakers have not been really good this month. All right. They're pretty much even. Okay. They're 6-7 to be exact. All right. So the Lakers been trading off winning streaks and losing streaks this month. Okay. So you start the month off dropping your first 2 out of 3. Then you win 3 out of 4. Then you lose 3 in a row. Then you win 2 out of 3. So, the Lakers, it's not that bad. Okay. I've heard people say that. Let's go and trade this player. Let's trade that player. Let's move this guy. Let's do this guy. Da, 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 da. And I'm just like, well, this is why we're in the position that we're in now, because people keep wanting to trade for names and people who used to be really good. You know what I mean? And now the Lakers had to go literally to the scrap heap and literally had to do legacy signings where they're signing a name. Now, Pat Riley did this a decade ago in Miami, but it was different this time. You had a very young LeBron, and you still had a prime D Wade, and you had a prime Chris Bosh. And some of those veterans weren't that old yet, and they were all guys that were names, but they were guys who were role players. They weren't guys who used to be superstars, most of them. You know what I mean? So I think that Laker fans just have to just breathe some more and understand that it's an 82-game marathon here. The first 2 months of the season aren't really or irrelevant compared to what the rest of the season is going to be. All right. The Lakers started off the season. They started off the season 4-3 in the month of November. Okay. And there's a lot of just questions going on. But what the Lakers have to do, they have to learn how to consistently play defense. The winning part is not hard. It's that you need to play better defense. Now, when they played the Knicks the other night, they did well. The Knicks actually scored 66 points, I think, or 61 points in the first half. They wound up only scoring 55 points for the rest of the game. Well, actually 45 points for the rest of the game. And so that was pretty good because the Lakers were able to say, we're going to play some defense and we'll do well. And they got 10 stops in the last 5 minutes. I counted it, but they only hit so many buckets. So they should have won the New York game. So if they would have won 3 in a row going out on this trip, everybody would have been, oh, the Lakers are something to behold and blah, 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 blah. But, they end the 5-game road trip 2-3, but that's okay because they get to come back home, and guess who they get to play? They get to play a Sacramento team that no longer has their head coach. They're going to the greatest interim coach of all time, Alvin Gentry. And then and then Detroit is coming in Sunday on a day off, because they're getting whooped by the Clippers right now. So you tell yourself these guys might be over there getting a little fat on Saturday over at LA Live. So, you better be able to take advantage of that on Sunday night and, give them and really after what happened in Detroit, the Lakers better be ready to beat the Pistons by 40 points, to be honest with you, because, I would be ready for some war when I see that team again. But all in all, they finish up the month in really good with really winnable games. You got Sacramento twice. You're going to host them tonight. Then you'll play them Tuesday night in Sacramento. And then right in the middle of that, this worst team in the Eastern Conference, because the Rockets hold the title as the worst team in the NBA right now. you get the Pistons. So everything should work out. Everything should be good. But the Lakers should not sleep at all tonight. They're playing against a very desperate Sacramento King, and then it's Sacramento Kings team, and then you're going against guys that are about to be shipped out. So they're trying to look as good as possible for the next journey that they'll be on in the NBA. Because I'm telling you right now, Sacramento is going to be blown up. Okay, like everybody's gone. You know what I mean? And I think that's exactly what's about to happen. You know what I mean? Because the owner already doesn't know what he's doing. You know what I mean? So he might just go ahead and say, let's just go get a whole bunch of draft picks because I'm getting tired of just seeing what I'm seeing. So they have a few more weeks to stick together, but I truly do think that they're going to start moving pieces very, very soon in Sacramento. All right, so there it is with the state of the Lakers tonight. Game starts at 7 p.m. and you guys can catch that on if you have Spectrum, you guys can catch it on Time Warner. So there it is. There it is on on the Spectrum network. Now it's not on Time Warner anymore. You got to understand. Us Laker fans, we're still kind of upset about them removing road games off the local network, KCAL, but you got to live with stuff like that, right? So pretty much we move on to our first game in the NBA tonight that I'm covering. That's going to be and it's NBA Friday night, one of my favorite nights in the league. Always a good night. And this is when people had to be on alert. Bad teams play good on Friday nights because that's the night when they get probably their best home crowd there, because you go to the game, you go to the movie afterwards, go to the club or something afterwards, but the game's a part of your event for the night. So it's not going to be like that tonight though, because this game is in the most famous arena in the world, the MSG, the Madison Square Garden, one of my favorite places in the world. I hear a lot of people call it a dump, but I'm a vintage type of guy. I love the Garden, and the Garden. I've been in dumpy arenas, and the Garden is not dumpy compared to some other arenas I've been in before. So, all in all, let me get to the game. We got the Knicks and the Suns. The Suns, hottest team in basketball right now, 13-0 this month, have won their 14 in a row as well too. They're 8-5 against the spread this month, but they haven't covered in their last 4 out of 5 either. Now, when it comes to the over under, they've went over in 7 out of the 13 games that they've been in, and then on the road they're 7-1 straight up, 4-4 against the spread, and then when it comes to the over under, they've went under in 5 out of their 8 games. Now, this is a really good record for them, and this is what a lot of people are going to key in on. But this doesn't mean that they win the game. They're 3-0 straight up versus the East, but they're 1-2 against the spread. So that's why you have to that's why the spread's at 3.5. With the way the Suns are playing right now, if they weren't coming in here on the numbers like that, they most likely would have probably been a 6.5 to 7 in this spot. And then when you have the over under, they've went over in 2 out of the 3 games that they played against the Eastern Conference. The Knicks coming here 5-7 straight up in the month of November, 4-8 against the spread this month, and then they've went under 10 out of their 12 games this month as well too. In a lot of those games was at home too, because they're 3-7. They've went under 7 out of their 10 games at home. They're 4-6 against the spread, and they're even when it comes to straight up. They're 5-5 at home. Now, when it comes to how they are versus the West, they're 3-0 straight up versus the West, but they're 1-2 against the spread versus the West as well too. And then they've went under in 2 out of their 3 games, so they're in the same form when it comes to the straight up and against the spread, but they're going in different places when it comes to the over under. But this is going to probably be the best game of the night. I expect there to be fireworks here as well too. I don't know if this game is going to be on ESPN with the way that they've been playing, but I'm looking at what this channel it's going to be on tonight, and it's going to be on the MSG network tonight. So all my New Yorkers, that'll be on your big cable affiliate network, MSG. So we move on to our next game, and that's going to be a really good one between the Hornets and the Wolves. These two teams are like any young, exciting team. You know what I mean? You got a lot of young stars there, but you know what the main event is tonight? You got the number 1 pick in the draft from last year, Anthony Edwards, going against the number 3 pick in the draft from last year, LaMelo Ball. So you had a lot of people thinking LaMelo should have went number 1, but there was no fit there for the Wolves in a sense, you know what I mean? Because they already had D'Angelo Russell there. And, if you would have went to the Warriors, now when you see how good Melo is, that would have just been mayhem, honestly. But him going to Charlotte was the perfect fit because that team needed him more than those 2 teams needed him. So that's been pretty good. The Wolves and Hornets, I'm not going to say that they'll play in the finals eventually or something like that, but Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball going one-on-one in these games is going to be something epic for the next decade or so if they can stay, at that top level. So you have the Wolves, who are 6-7 straight up in November against the spread. They're 7-6. They've went under in 7 out of their 13 games in November as well too. On the road, they're 3-4 against the spread and straight up. And then when it comes to the over-under, they've went over in 4 out of their 7 games. And then against the East, they're 1-1 against the spread and straight up. And then they're even when it comes to the over and under as well too. You have a Hornets team coming in here 7-6 straight up in November, but they're 7-1 after an 0-5 start. The Wolves started off the month 0-5 as well too, and they've won their fair share of games as well, winning 6 out of their last 2. So they've been good. They 6 out of their last 8. So pretty much they've been really good. On the get back as well too. But both these teams started off this month lousy, but they've got it all together since that point. Now you have this team is 7-5-1 against the spread in November. And then when it comes to the over and under, they have went under 8 out of their 13 games this month as well too. Now against the spread and straight up at home, they're 6-2. The over and under at home, they've went over in 5 out of their 8 games. Now versus the West, they're 3-5. They're 3-4 actually. I'm sorry. And when they 3-4 versus the West, and then when it comes down to the spread, they're 3-1 versus the West. So they went on a little road trip and they got pretty popped up by the state of California, but they bounced back from that because they started off really well against the Western Conference this year. Now they went over 4 out of their 7 games against the West. So this is going to be a good young people game. If you love the NBA and you're a young person, this is the game that you're going to probably want to focus in on and watch. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. We move forward from there. We have the Grizzlies and the Hawks. This game is going to be played in Memphis tonight, and this is always a good one. We got the Chocolate Cities going at each other tonight, Memphis and Atlanta. So you should expect a lot of rappers there since it is going to be in Memphis and everything like that. And, Atlanta's playing and all that good stuff. So you might have both coming from both cities, but it is what it is at the end of the day. Both these teams are kind of going through the motions a little bit at this point in time. You will call both these teams middling because you have a Hawks team that's 10-9, a Grizzlies team that's 9-9. The Hawks coming into this game as the slight dog, and the reason being they're the slight dog is because how they are on the road. Now this month they're 7-6 straight up in November. Then they're 6-7 against the spread, and then when it comes to the over under, they've went over 7 out of their 13 games. And then when it comes to how they are on the road, they're 2-7 straight up on the road. Okay. But they're 1-8 against the spread on the road. They covered for the first time in their last road game against San Antonio with that blowout. So you just have to go ahead and note that this team is not good on the road. But when it comes to over and unders, they've went over in 5 out of the 9 games they played on the road this season. Now against the West, they're 2-5 straight up. They are 1-6 against the spread, and they've went under in 4 out of the 7 games against the Western Conference. Now, the Grizzlies coming in this game even against the spread and straight up, and even when it comes to the over and under this month as well, too. Now, at home, they're 6-4 against the spread and straight up, and then also at home, they've went over in 6 out of their 10 games. Now, when it comes to playing the Eastern Conference, they're 1-3 against the spread and straight up, but when it comes to the over and under, they are actually have went over in 3 out of the 4 games they played against the Eastern Conference. So the Grizzlies come in here. They're kind of having a shaky moment. They win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. That's kind of like how their month has been, and that's pretty much why you see a 6-6 record at the end of the month as well too. So pretty much this is going to be another really good game tonight. And I do like what I see coming forward with the Grizzlies. I think that Ja Morant will be up to it tonight because he sees he'll have Trae Young on the other side. And you know what? The Grizzlies, I can trust them, because I said they're winning and losing every other game. They won the game the other night when we had them at plus 390 as the NBA dog of the day. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it shakes out. But I like what I see here tonight with the Grizzlies, and hopefully they can get this bad boy home for us. All right, we move on to our next game. It's going to be the Bucks at the Nuggets. The Bucks coming in here 11-8. The Nuggets right now are coming into the game as I had it here. There it goes. I'm always covering something up. They're 9-9. They're even on the year. The Bucks are 8-4 straight up, and that's in the month of November. They're 5-7 against the spread this month. They've went under in 7 out of their 12 games this month. And then when it comes to the spread and straight up, they're 5-4 on the road, and they've went under in 5 out of their 9 games on the road. Now they're 3-2 straight up versus the West, but they're 1-4 against the spread, and they've went under in 4 out of their 5 games versus the West this year as well too. So, the Bucks going in here playing against the Nuggets. The Nuggets hopefully will have Jokic back tonight. But as you can see, they're struggling against the Western Conference when it comes to covering these games. So I like the Nuggets because they've been playing much better at home than they have on the road. I don't think they've won a road game like all month this month. But when it comes to their home games, they've been very, very good. You know what I mean? They only lost a few games at home. So they're 5-7 straight up in November. But this is the funny part about this team. They won 5 in a row. Now they lost 5 in a row. Once again, they won 5 in a row after starting the month on 2, then came back around and lost 5 more in a row. So that's the tell of two teams right now. The 5 in a row, Jokic was there. The 5 they've lost in a row, Jokic was hurt. So you kind of can tell what the base is of this team. Now, the Nuggets are 4-8 in the month of November against the spread. And then when it comes to the over and under, they're 6-6. And then also straight up at home, they're 6-3 against the spread. They're 5-4, and they've went under in 6 out of their 9 home games this year. Now, when it comes to the spread and straight up against the East, they're 3-3. And then when it comes to the over and under versus the East, they actually have went under in 4 out of their 6 games. So the Nuggets to me look like they could be the dog of the day, and that's how I'm going to circle them as well too, because the Bucks just aren't playing well against the Western Conference, in my opinion. Yes, they have a 3-2 record against them, but they have lost to teams that they shouldn't have lost to, like the Wolves and the Spurs, and those games were in Milwaukee. So, they've been better on the road against the West, but I think that Denver shakes up the system a little bit tonight. So I like him as the dog of the day today. And we move forward from there, and we will go to the finale on what's going to be on the Super High Five, and that's going to be a good old Bay Area Northwest situation. You got Dame Lillard going against Steph Curry. You know that these guys are somewhat rivals in a sense. Dame really feels like, if he had a team like Steph's, he would be right there in the conference finals or the finals every single year. And he is an Oakland boy as well too, so he is coming back home tonight. So he's going to want to do it big in front of his family members and friends and all that good stuff. But the Warriors don't care about any of that. I'm going to just be dead honest with you. This team is 16-2 on the season. So, they're not going through the motions anymore. They've returned to the top of the mountain as the de facto shot caller of what's going to happen in the NBA this year. So now, everybody has a standard to live up to, because they're literally like hot as fish grease coming out out of October. Then, November, they just been awesome. So you got a Blazers team 7-6 straight up in November. They're 5-8 against the spread in November, and they've went under 9 out of their 13 games this month. Now on the road, they're 1-7 against the spread and straight up. And when it comes down to the over and under on the road, they're even. So the Warriors 11-1 straight up in November, 10-1-1 against the spread in November. Went under in 7 out of their 12 games. They're 10-1 straight up at home for the season. Against the spread, they're 8-2-1. And then this is a shocker to me, because this used to be the easy over every night with the Warriors, because they were getting like 120, 130 a game at their prime. And they are actually have went under in 7 out of their 11 games this year. So I'm just like, whoa, that's kind of new to me. So, pretty good in that regard, but that's just different. It's just different to me that this Warriors team is not blowing everybody away like they used to. You know what I mean? Well, not blowing everybody away, but not scoring 120 points. They just playing really good defense and, just getting the job done that way. So, much kudos to Steve Kerr for making that proper adjustment and actually reinventing himself as a coach. I thought that he was kind of a coach that just took advantage of having a great team, but he worked it out with this team over the last few seasons, and they put things together, and he's made young players very confident in themselves as well too. But the one thing that he triggered in on this year was the defense, and that's the reason why the Warriors are the best team in basketball right now. Now, let's get to talking tickets. And with talking tickets today, we do have a pretty full slate for you guys. We got college football Friday night bets, as I said before, money line plus 200 on the Tar Heels, and then over 44.5 with Washington State and UW in the Apple Cup. Single what you like. And then for the college basketball late pick 4, we're going to go ahead and jump into that Duke Gonzaga game and that Pacific in Arkansas Pine Bluff game, taking Pacific with the minus 19. Pine Bluff is awful. They probably won't cover a game until they get into conference. Then you have Duke, who's plus 9. Duke's the number 5 team in the nation. I know Gonzaga's Gonzaga, and they're pretty much at their second home tonight in Vegas, but I think Duke steps it up big because this is Coach K's final little Johnson runs through places like Las Vegas for big games like this one. So I like Duke tonight with the plus 9. I don't say that they win. I say that they make it a better game than UCLA did the other night. And then we have San Francisco University finishing up their tournament to I think it's the Las Vegas Classic that they're in. So they are finishing that up, and they have a pretty good game tonight against the University Alabama Birmingham. But I think that San Fran should take care of their business, get a good win, and they've actually been ranked pretty high. So they're seen as a pretty good team this season, and they should be a team that gives Gonzaga a couple little fits and everything like that, hopefully. And then we have USC money line. They're going against San Diego State. I do not understand why USC is the slight dog here. Yes, San Diego State's good, but I think that USC will have enough to get the win tonight, especially with the game being in Anaheim as well too, and knowing that they'll have more of the crowd there as well too than the Aztecs. But that's kind of crazy to say because literally Anaheim's kind of like right in the middle when it comes to LA and San Diego. So you may get both sides, especially with San Diego State being so good this year. Now we ended off with the NBA Super High 5. I got a 30-1 ticket here. I'm taking the under 215.5 with the Suns and the Knicks to kick it off. Then we're taking the over 226 with the Wolves and the Hornets in the my favorite star game my favorite star of the future game. And then we have the Grizzlies at -115. As I said before, the slight dog is going to be the Nuggets money line +135. And then we ended with the Warriors -6 tonight to go ahead and take care of their business against the Blazers here on a Friday night in San Francisco. It ain't a Friday night in Oakland anymore. It's a Friday night in San Francisco now. So it is what it is. And that's going to be our show for today. I thank you guys very much for tuning in as well, too. It's always a pleasure to service you with these great plays and these great angles as well, too. I'll be back Sunday morning with the Talkin Tickets segment on IG, so you guys make sure not to miss that. I'll have my best plays I have my pick 6 and my pick 4 for you guys, and then I have some bets for Sunday Night Football for you guys as well too. So make sure to tune in for that, and we'll have NBA Super High Five, all that good stuff, and then if we have some college basketball available, that will be a part of the show as well too. But tomorrow, just be on the lookout for my list and my tickets and things like that. We're taking a day and horsing around. But if there is no horsing around tomorrow, it's just because things got a little busy in the morning. We do have Ohio State, Michigan, and I'm not missing that for the world. So pretty much hopefully that game winds up being an instant classic, because there's a lot of people saying Michigan right now, but I think they keep forgetting who Ohio State really is. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, hey, we here to just cash them damn tickets, and hopefully we can do that some more tonight. All right. So I thank you guys very much. You guys are the absolute best. This is the premier sports betting show, the Primetime Angles Live, with the one and only Pop DiBiase, the Primetime Capper. If you got a hunch, bet a bunch. Always bet with your head, not with your heart. The movement is moving, and I am gone.
From the East and the West, you've heard others, but now you've tuned into the best.